Hey everyone, welcome back to the Nerds of the Multiverse channel. Today, I am coming at you with a brand new ranking video, and this is going to be ranking every rumored fight sequence that we could be getting in Avengers Doomsday. Now, I do want to start off by saying that, again, these are not officially confirmed fights for the film. This is just everything that we've compiled together so far. There was a list that came out of every fight, so I thought I would rank them from worst to best today, and just kind of go over what I'm excited for, what I think is going to be the best fight, what I think is going to be the most impactful fight, and just overall what my preference is of what I'm excited for. So, with that being said, if you do have a comment, if you do have an opinion, and you want to talk about it down below in the comments, please do so respectfully. Again, this is my opinion, so if you guys have a differing one, just be respectful. I'm down to talk about it all day. I want to know what you guys are excited for as well. So, without further ado, let's jump into these fights. So again, these fights are rumored, they are not confirmed, but we're going to be ranking these based off of excitement, story impact, character stakes. We got the multiversal consequences, and this isn't just about who wins, it's about which fight matters the most. Because one of these fights allegedly ends an entire universe. So we're starting off, we're going to be ranking them worst to best, and we're going to start off with number 13. And that would be Steve Rogers versus Peggy Carter. Obviously, this is an emotional fight. It's not going to be an epic one. Obviously, you got Captain Carter versus Captain America, essentially. I don't look for it to be a very long fight. I don't even know what it's going to be about, but this one just came out the other day, very, very briefly, and I think it's going to be more of a tragedy, because you're going to see kind of like a crack in their relationship because of this fight. Obviously, they might be fighting over the future of their child. I don't know if it's going to be Steve's Peggy or Peggy from a different multiverse. I don't know for sure. But this one is hands down the lowest fight for me of what I'm excited for this movie. Then coming in at number 12, there are several fights in this film that are rumored that are between the New Avengers and the Avengers versus the X-Men. And right now, the one that I am the least excited for out of those fights, so this is my number 12 spot, would be Yelena versus Mystique. Obviously, you got two basically espionage type characters, spy characters, going back and forth and battling it out. But as far as like the consequences of this for the multiverse, I don't see this being extremely impactful. So it's going to be fun, but not huge. So that's why that's number 12. And then number 11 for me is going to be Captain Marvel versus Monica Rambeau. Monica Rambeau is in the X-Men universe. So my big theory is that all of the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, the New Avengers, everybody's going to be going to the X-Men universe that we see in the trailer. And they're going to go try to get Monica. They're going to try to retrieve her, because obviously that is an incursion waiting to happen with her being there in that universe. So they're probably going to go and try to get Monica. The X-Men are going to be confused about it. There's going to be a conflict between them. They're fighting each other, not knowing that there's bigger stakes at hand. And I think this is going to be a very emotional fight, because you have Carol Danvers going against her best friend. It's going to be very, very powerful. These are two cosmic beings. So we have Captain Marvel versus Spectrum. So this could be pretty huge. And I think that this is going to be a big point for the film where you see that Doom is manipulating these heroes. He wants them to be fighting each other. Obviously, they're all good guys, but they don't understand why they have the motives that they do. So Doom is going to be manipulating them. He's probably told the Avengers, the New Avengers, Fantastic Four, that they are purposely keeping her here. They have no idea who the X-Men are, because obviously they're not in Earth 616. So this is going to be a pretty big fight, and I think that this is going to show Dr. Doom's hand a little bit, especially by the time we get done with all of these X-Men fighting these other heroes, because they're going to realize, why are we fighting each other? And they're going to realize that Doom manipulated them. So that is what I have at number 11. And then finally, at number 10, this is where I'm going to put... Now, I'm extremely excited for this fight. I think it's going to be a huge spectacle. But my number 10 would be Shang-Chi versus Gambit. I think that this is going to be such a stylish martial arts fight like times kinetic energy. This is going to be pretty cool. I think this is more of a fan service fight. We're going to see some pretty cool abilities. I know that Shang-Chi is rumored to be having a new power set in this film. He's going to be getting a comic accurate suit. There's a picture that Simu Liu posted of him in the X-Men training. So obviously it's not going to be a massive conflict for long, but I think it's going to be pretty cool. See Simu Liu versus Channing Tatum. It's probably going to be a very short fight, but it's going to be flashy, and I think a lot of fans are going to have a ton of fun with this fight. So that is my number 10. Then coming in at number 9. This is basically confirmed. This got leaked by Alan Cumming, and this is the fight between Nightcrawler and Mr. Fantastic. You have intelligence versus unpredictability. You would never know where Nightcrawler's going to pop up at. This is going to be so cool. Obviously, we've heard a lot of different reports now that we're actually going to see more of Pedro Pascal's Mr. Fantastic's powers in this movie. We're going to see abilities that we've never seen in live action in this film from the comics. So seeing Mr. Fantastic taking on Nightcrawler, that's not something I ever thought was going to be happening. But I love Nightcrawler, one of my favorite mutants. I think this is going to be such a cool fight. Obviously, I don't think it's a massive pinnacle of a fight. I think this is going to be setting up Mr. Fantastic going and fighting different people, but Nightcrawler might be like the first one that he interacts with or engages with. So him and Nightcrawler is going to be so much fun. I'm looking forward to this. That's my number 9. All right, now we are in the top 8. So the next one also involves Mr. Fantastic, and this one got reported, I believe it was yesterday or the day before. This is Mr. Fantastic versus Deadpool. How insane is this going to be? You're going to have Mr. Fantastic's intelligence, his intellect, and he's got to deal with Deadpool's humor. And I think this is just going to be such a comical fight. I don't even know what to expect from this. Obviously, I think Ryan Reynolds is going to break the fourth wall in the middle of this fight, talking about all of this. Reed's going to try to outthink Deadpool, which I think he probably could, but Deadpool is so unpredictable. We don't really know how lethal he's going to be in this film either, because obviously he's not going to kill Mr. Fantastic, but this is just going to be such a fun fight. I think it's going to be hilarious. So that one is number 8 for me. Then we have number 7. This is going to be where I put Gambit versus Doctor Doom. Obviously, any fight scene with Doctor Doom is going to be awesome in this film. I'm looking forward to see Robert Downey Jr. Go toe-to-toe with Channing Tatum. Obviously, Gambit most likely loses. I don't think that that's in question here. Doctor Doom is Doctor Doom, and I don't think he's going to lose any fight in this film, to be honest, unless he's faking it to kind of make it seem like he's weaker than what he is. But I think, personally, I think Doom is going to establish his dominance very, very early, and I think that this is going to emphasize mutants are not safe. Do I think Gambit is going to die in this film? I don't know. I don't know if Channing Tatum is going to be our Gambit long term, or if this is it for him. He might not even die in this film, but he could pass on in Secret Wars. But I do think that Doctor Doom's going to pretty much easily handle him, and it's gonna establish, wow, we can't take him down. So that is what I have at number 7. And then we have our last one before we get to the top 5. This is where I have Captain America versus Cyclops. Sam Wilson versus Scott Summers is going to be such a fun fight. Obviously, you have leadership versus leadership. And obviously, it's the leaders of the X-Men. It's the leaders of the Avengers. These are the 2 top teams. And I think it's going to be more they clash on their ideas, the way they're trying to go about it. Maybe Sam tries to explain to Scott, this is why we're here. We're here to get Monica. We're here to bring her out. We're here to take her home because this incursion is happening. They might not like the way that they're going about it. They might have a misunderstanding in the middle of it and then finally come to terms at the end, like, okay, we are on the right side. We're on the same side. But this is going to be a clash of 2 different styles of leadership. Both are trying to do the best for their team, best for their world. And I think that this is going to be insane because we are literally going to be getting Avengers versus X-Men in this film. This is an Avengers versus X-Men movie, basically, and Doctor Doom is manipulating it all. How insane is that? How insane is that? I'm so excited. So that wraps up the 6 through 13 spots, and now we are going to be breaking in to the top 5. This is where the heavy hitters are, people. The heavy hitters. And this is where we have Bob, the Sentry, and the Void versus Professor X. Can you imagine how insane this is going to be? Now, Patrick Stewart's Professor X is said to not be in Secret Wars. Do I think the Sentry is going to kill him? If he does, it's going to be accidental. I don't think anybody's trying to literally kill anybody in these Avengers versus X-Men fights, the new Avengers versus the X-Men. I don't think that's the mindset behind this. It's going to be more of a Civil War type fight. But I could see the Void coming out and accidentally killing Professor X, and that gives Bob even more grief of, I don't want to do this. I can't be a part of this because he's going to possibly kill Professor Xavier. But you basically have the power of the mind, one of the greatest minds ever, telekinetic powers, versus a god-tier level hero with a massive instability. And I do think this is where Professor X probably does die, which is going to be sad. And how many times do we have to see Patrick Stewart's Professor Xavier get killed? It almost feels overplayed. This is going to be in a new way, though. Obviously, the way that Wanda did it in Multiverse of Madness was ridiculous. But this is going to be pretty cool. I think the Void is going to be showing Sentry that he can't trust himself. And I think this is going to be a massive, massive emotional moment in the film. I think there's going to be a lot of tears during this. Not just because we're upset that Patrick Stewart's Professor X is gone, but we're going to be so sad for Bob because Bob's probably going to be like, I gotta take the back seat. I can't be doing this anymore. Going into the top 4. Now this is pretty sick. We have Mr. Fantastic, Cyclops, and Captain America versus Doctor Doom. So we have the leaders of the Fantastic Four, the X-Men, and the Avengers all going to fight Doctor Doom. This is science, it is strategy, it's leadership versus absolute power. And again, I think that nobody is going to beat Doom in this movie as far as fighting goes. And I think he's going to take down all 3 of them. It's going to be a massive fight. This is going to be Doom defeating the 3 pillars of heroism. Obviously, we mentioned science, strategy, and leadership. And I think this is where Dr. Doom is going to be establishing, yeah, hey, I'm the biggest threat that you were ever going to deal with, you've ever dealt with, and there's no stopping me. And it's going to be a massive blow to our heroes when they see all of their leaders of their teams getting taken down. I think that this might be the penultimate battle of the film. This might be the pinnacle of it all. And I think that this is going to be one of the biggest fights in MCU history. But it's still at number 4 for me because there's a few on here that are kind of getting me a little bit more excited just because it's somewhat fan service, but it's going to be so cool. Starting off with the top 3. This is where I have Tobey Maguire, his Spider-Man, versus Wolverine. It doesn't feel right to say it because it feels like we've wanted it for so long and it's never happened that it felt like it never was going to, but this is supposed to be happening in this film. We're going to have our childhood dreams come together. We're going to see a fight sequence between Hugh Jackman and Tobey Maguire. And I think this is going to be a violent fight. Tobey is arguably one of the strongest Spider-Men, if not the strongest Spider-Man. Obviously, he held the glider from Tom full strength when he was trying to kill the Goblin. That was insane. And we got Wolverine. I don't know exactly what's going to happen here. There is rumors, huge rumors, that Wolverine might kill somebody in this movie. I hope he doesn't kill Tobey. That would just break my heart. break my heart. But I do think that this is going to be just a culmination of the Raimi Spider-Verse, which started it all, and the Fox X-Men universe, and just it's going to be so beautiful. It's going to be so beautiful, and I think that that's more of a bias. That's why it's so high. That's why it's top 3 for me. But yeah, I love Spider-Man and I love Wolverine, so it has to be top 3. Now we get to the top 2. I think that this fight next for number 2, it could be one of this is probably the most high stakes fights ever, and that's Loki, the God of Stories, versus Doctor Doom. Can you imagine the amount of power in this fight? This is probably going to be the closest Doctor Doom gets to being defeated, but I do think that he's going to end up taking Loki's power at the end, very similar to what happens to the Beyonder. And I do think that this is going to come down to a battle of outwitting, and I think Doctor Doom is going to get the slight advantage on Loki. I think that this fight is going to be instigated because obviously Doom is coming to take Loki's power. He needs it to create Battle World, but I think that this is going to happen, and Thor is going to try to intervene, and there's a very good chance that Thor might not make it out of this movie. I know we've talked about Thor 5 before. It's still a potential possibility. He might be in Secret Wars. Maybe it's a variant. I don't know. But could you imagine if it's reversed from Infinity War and we see Thor die and Loki is there to bear the burden of his brother dying? Or maybe he even gives up his powers to Doom to save Thor, and Thor lives, but Loki no longer has power because he chose to save his brother. That would be ridiculously insane. Oh my gosh. I'm so excited for this movie. But number 1, now this might not be the most powerful, it might not be the best fight of the movie, but I think it's going to be insane. And ladies and gentlemen, this is rumored to be the opening sequence to Doomsday. I just saw this report today. It's a rumor, so don't take it 100% serious. Take it with a grain of salt. It is rumored that this is the opening scene for Avengers Doomsday. And it's rumored that Tobey Maguire and Doc Ock, Alfred Molina's Doc Ock, both of them are teamed up, and they are going to be fighting the Fox X-Men. Tobey Maguire and Doc Ock are rumored to be fighting the Fox X-Men for the beginning sequence of Avengers Doomsday. And this is where I mentioned earlier that entire universe could be destroyed. It is rumored that Spider-Man's world is going to get erased by something that the X-Men do. The universe is going to be destroyed. It's possibly an incursion happening because they're there. The X-Men aren't the villains. But what's happening and why they're fighting, unknown. But their presence there, whatever's going on, causes an incursion. And Tobey's world gets destroyed. And see, that's the thing, too. That's another reason why I think there's a chance that Tobey Maguire might die, because if he has no universe to go back to, he's obviously not going to stay in the MCU. So after the whole Battle World sequence, there's a very likely chance that Tobey Maguire will no longer be around. And it's so sad. So this is the moment that the multiverse stops feeling fun, because the Raimi-verse gets destroyed. And there's a chance that Tobey might die here. That'd be horrible if it was the beginning of the film and we only get Tobey Maguire for the beginning and he's gone out of our lives forever. I would cry. I would cry. It'd probably emotionally wreck me from the whole movie. But can you imagine? We have Spider-Man versus the X-Men, and he's teaming up with Doc Ock. That's literally childhood. Childhood, all right there. And I absolutely would lose my mind. So that is my rankings of the fights, all the way from 13 to 1, from worst, even though I don't think it's going to be a bad fight, but from worst to best, least exciting to most exciting for me personally. Yeah, it's going to be such a fun movie. I'm looking so forward to it, and I hope you guys are as well. I think this is an underdog film. I've been saying this for months. I think this film is going to outperform. It's going to do great, and I think that this film is going to exceed expectations for many people. So that is all I have for today's video. If you did enjoy it, please leave a like. And if you want to see more Marvel content such as news, rankings, theories, lore videos, gaming videos, breakdowns, and more, make sure you hit the subscribe button and turn on post notifications so you never miss an upload. I am also on social media. I am on TikTok at Nerds of the Multiverse, on Instagram at The Nerds of the Multiverse, and I am on X at Nerds of the Mult1. And also, if you have not already subscribed to the Nerd Bros Podcast YouTube channel, make sure you do so, because we have new podcast episodes coming out every Tuesday night. and you don't want to miss a thing. We're talking about Star Wars, Marvel, DC. It's me and the Nerds of Ren, Trey, my best friend. And if you guys want to check that out, make sure you do so. I appreciate you, and I love you 3000, and I will see you in the next video.